Imagine an ER waiting room with your favorite blanket and pillow, your cat's Pixel and Widget, and your mom's chicken soup. At Dignity Health, we know the only thing worse than being in pain is being stuck in an ER waiting room. So we offer In Quicker. You get an estimated ER arrival time online so you can start your wait at home. It's just another way of putting leading-edge medicine within easy reach. Learn more at strosehospitals.org/ER. Dignity Health, including St. Rose Dominicans, Rose de Lima, San Martin, and Siena campuses in Henderson and Las Vegas. Hello, human kindness.
Hi, I'm Liz Munoz, CEO of Torrid, and at Torrid, we know how hard it is to find clothes that fit great and feel super comfortable, especially if you're a bigger or curvy girl. So when we couldn't find the perfect jean, we built the perfect jean. We call it the Bombshell, and it truly does it all. It lifts, it shapes, it smooths, but the first thing you'll notice when you put them on, most comfortable jeans ever. Honestly, they're magic. So come to Torrid.com and try your first pair of Bombshell jeans today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is a morning update. What's up, everybody, and greetings from an overcast but hot Sin City. Hope everybody's weekend is off to an incredible start. Here on the podcast, I'd just like to give a quick thank you to everybody who has supported us from the jump. The people who have started supporting the show recently. All of you folks have contributed to us breaking the 2 million download barrier. Now that's pretty wild to even say. I'm just some knucklehead, right? But 2 million downloads, it's a pretty big accomplishment in the world of podcasting, considering, most podcasts hardly even get off the ground. We've been here day in and day out since October 1st of 2019, pounding away on this story. And we're right above the target, folks. And you know what you do when you get above the target, right? When you're on a bombing run, you open the Bombay doors and you let loose. And that's what we're going to continue to do here on this podcast, all the way up to Ghislaine Maxwell's trial and hopefully conviction. I was really looking forward to that happening in July, but November it is. So we'll be here, like we have been since October of 2019, talking about the daily news and offering up my perspective on this case and what's happening in this case. If you would have told me when I first started this podcast that there would have been 2 million downloads, I would have laughed directly in your face. I figured we'd get, 150, 200 downloads tops. I never figured that my opinions and this story would resonate with so many people. But here we are, 2 million downloads later, and we're still rolling. And honestly, it's a testament to all of you out there who download the podcast on a daily basis, who listen to the podcast on a daily basis, and who, use your life minutes, your most precious commodity, listening to me and my beard go ham over the injustices that we see on a daily basis in this case and hell elsewhere. So really, it's not even my accomplishment, it's yours. So to all of you out there who have supported the podcast for so long and who have been actively involved, joined during the live streams, shoot me emails, all of that stuff, this is really your deal, right? You're the ones who accomplished this. I just get up on this podcast every day and talk about things. It's really you who drive those numbers. It's you who drive the downloads. And here we are, less than 2 years in, with 2 million downloads. Pretty wild, folks. And I definitely appreciate the continued support and all of the kind words that I receive from a lot of you pretty much on a daily basis. I'm swarmed with emails right now, and I'm trying to answer them as quickly as I possibly can. I've been a little lax with my emails. I took a little bit of time off answering them, a few days, and, well, that wasn't a good idea because I am completely backed up now with emails. So I'm trying to work my way through them this weekend, and hopefully, by the end of the week, the latest, I have most of them or all of them answered. And sometimes, for some reason, the emails get sent to my spam box. So I have to go in there and navigate through there and try and weed out what is an actual email and what is spam garbage. So I am working through those right now. If you've sent me an email recently and I haven't responded, bear with me. I'm trying to get to it as soon as I can. So, again, folks, I just, there aren't enough words for me to express my appreciation of your support of this podcast and the support of my work. It's always nice when people are tuning in, right? But, as you all know, me and my fat mouth would be running no matter what, if people were listening or not. The same things we talk about here on this podcast, this is the same shit I talk about in the backyard with my dad or my friends at the barbecue incessantly. So, either way, either I'd be talking to you about this stuff or I'd be forcing my friends and family to listen to it at barbecues and events and all of that other stuff. But no matter what, we're going to see this one through to completion, folks. We're going to ride all the way until the wheels fall off. And, we were doing 2 episodes a day for pretty much that whole 18, 19-month run. With the news slowing down a little bit, though, we're just doing the 1 right now, and then, I'm adding some flashback episodes. And if something breaks, obviously, well, we'll jump on that. But I think as of right now, with there being a bit of a lull, the 1 episode a day, it's plenty, followed up by the flashbacks. So that is the format that we've been rocking with for the last little bit. And for the foreseeable future, that's probably the same format we're going to stick with until we get closer to the trial, or when we have those days where there's 3, 4, 5 articles maybe that come out, then obviously we'll get down to it and we'll pump them all out. But I think that we've covered so much ground at this point in the case that we're pretty much caught up with what's going on here. So it affords us the ability to, maybe just do the 1 episode a day. But don't think I'm not working on other things. Because June 1st, folks, my new podcast, Life is a Mosh Pit, launches. And that podcast is going to be a variety show. We're going to dive into all kinds of stuff. Yesterday, I sat down with a source from Sinaloa down in Mexico, and we talked about the war on drugs. We talked about the trafficking routes at the border. We talked about the effects of NAFTA on the drug trade. And let me tell you what, I've had conversations with some pretty legit people in my life. People from the streets, people that know the game, people that have done long bids in prison, people that move in circles that none of us would ever want to move in. Well, this conversation with this fella, let me tell you what, these cats are different. They're made different. They move different. They act different. They think different. And my man put it on me yesterday. It was a very sobering, chilling conversation. Now, I'm not too sure if this person is ever going to want to hop onto the podcast and talk to us. But I'm definitely going to share with you folks on the podcast the transcript of our conversation. This person gave me the okay to do that, and I'll tell you what, it is a lot more serious than the legacy media is letting on. I know that shocks all of you out there that listen to me on a regular basis, but once again, we find ourselves in a situation where the legacy media is dicking around. So, just like with Jeffrey Epstein, your boy decided to try and get to the bottom of it. So that is where we're going to start on Life is a Mosh Pit. We're going to start with the war on drugs. That's going to be our first series that we dive into. But there's going to be daily updates, news updates, like we do the Jeffrey Epstein news. We're going to go through different articles from around the world of stories I feel like are being buried or stories that are hot in the news. And we're going to break those stories down the same way we do here on the Jeffrey Epstein show. And that's going to be a daily process on the new podcast as well. A daily news show, folks, right? Where we go through some of the different headlines, break them down, cut through the gaslighting, cut through the BS, and see if we can see the forest through the trees, right? Along with that, I'm going to have a segment called That's Wild, where I talk about some of the craziest news in the news cycle, stuff that, maybe has been missed or just doesn't get the publicity it should. And we're going to have a bunch of guests on as well. So there's a lot coming your way as far as content that's going to be created and produced by me. And there's also going to be some surprises along the way this summer. Now, on the new podcast, Life is a Mosh Pit, I'm also going to be joined by my amazing girlfriend for some of the pop culture and reality TV segments. So she has her finger on the pulse with all of that stuff. And, I can't lie. I'm along for the ride with her. We talk about fellow travelers. Well, I'm a fellow traveler when it comes to reality TV. I love it. I can't even lie to you guys. So we're going to add a little bit of that to it as well, some pop culture, just an all-around variety show where we discuss a full range of issues. One day we might be talking about deep space exploration, and then the next day we might be talking about a megalodon or something. Who the hell knows? But we're going to have several different segments on the new podcast, several different things. It's going to be something for everybody, basically. So I know that here on the Jeffrey Epstein show, we've been laser focused on the topic at hand. And we're going to branch off from here. And we're going to discuss all of the things I just talked about and a bunch of other things as well. Obviously, we're going to hit hard the corruption angle, money laundering. There's going to be a series on that. There's going to be a series on the homelessness issue in America. There's going to be a series on gambling. All kinds of things I have in the works, folks, that I've been, kicking around and setting up storyboards and notes for. So I'm really looking forward to getting things kicked off on June 1st. And moving forward with this new project. And I hope that all of you out there listening roll with me and join along in the fun, because it's going to be pretty enjoyable, I think. And I think a lot of you out there are going to really enjoy the content that gets pumped out. So be on the lookout for that starting Tuesday, folks. I will start posting a link to the new podcast on Monday afternoon. So starting Monday afternoon, you'll be able to link to it. You'll be able to check it out. The new artwork for the podcast, all of that jazz. That'll all be live on Monday. And then the first episode drops on Tuesday. So that's where we're at right now with everything. Quick recap of what's going on in the world of the Jeffrey Epstein show. And what you have to look forward to moving forward. And I know a lot of you also, by the way, I just want to throw this in there real quick. So those of you out there listening who have contacted me about it know that you're not forgotten. Yes, like I said the other day, there will be a sports segment as well. I don't know if it's going to be a weekly show or, once every few days, how I'm going to set it up. But we're definitely going to have a sports show with kind of a gambling slant, right? Sports wagering slant. Considering sports wagering is legal now in America, I don't feel like a degenerate Italian sitting in his basement doing something illegal, discussing it with you. So we're definitely going to have that segment added to the podcast for those of you who are into it, right? I know that some of you might not even care one single lick about sports, and that's cool. I get it, right? The content will be there for those of you who want it, and those of you who aren't into sports, obviously, just skip on by. But my plan is to try and have a little something for everybody. And also, I'm going to try and get a couple of different perspectives to do some guest hosting on the podcast. I have a few ideas for people to bring on board for that, but I have to talk to them a little bit about that. So we'll see. But there's a lot in the works, folks, and this is going to be a cracking summer. I planned on spending this summer working the Jeffrey Epstein show, the trial, right? Well, I find myself with a little bit of free time now this summer, so there are definitely some projects in the works that I'm excited about, some stuff that I'll be sharing with you in the future. But as of now, get ready and get hype, because we're going to be in the mosh pit, folks, all of us together. Life really is a mosh pit, right? It's a contact sport. So we're going to hop in, we're going to tuck our shoulders, and we're going to get down. Because there is a lot of stuff, a lot of stories, a lot of news out there that I feel like is being buried and I feel like shouldn't be. So we're gonna dive into that on a daily basis, plus all of that other stuff I just talked about. And you add it all together, folks, and you have yourselves a virtual buffet of content, a one-stop shop. And that's certainly what I'm looking for. So thank you to everybody who has supported the podcast, throughout this incredible run. 2 million downloads. Are you kidding me right now? For some kid from the east side, the Las Vegas, and the inner city? Come on. What's the saying go? What do the kids say these days? We started from the bottom, now we here. So I appreciate all of it, folks, all of the support, the kind words, even the very few of you douchebags out there who have sent idiotic emails. I appreciate you folks, too. You light that fire as well, believe it. I eat that kind of shit, and it motivates me, so keep it coming. It has been one wild ride, folks, and I really appreciate all of the support, and I appreciate all of you sharing the podcast with your friends and all of that stuff, because remember, not only have we crushed 2 million, all right? Not only have we crushed 2 million, well, we did it with iTunes dicking us around as well. Remember that. Imagine if iTunes hadn't been dicking us around, the sky would have been the limit with this podcast. But that's cool. I'm not like all these other people. I don't get frustrated. I don't get knocked off a target. I don't get spun off my axis. You start messing with me. You start throwing roadblocks in my way, hurdles in my way. You just motivate me more. You just get me more fired up. I am the type of person that when you tell me no, well, the results are usually the opposite. I hope that with the new podcast we can avoid the iTunes BS. And I would hope that I'm able to navigate those waters a little bit better with this new podcast, but there was no way that I was ratcheting anything down on the Jeffrey Epstein show ever. We're going full bore, double barrels blasting, undigestible, and I don't give one good curse word coming in, fuck, who has a problem with it. So with that said, let's jump into our article for today and talk about Mr. Allen, I kept my underpants on Dershowitz. Lord of suing people. Lord of being a jerk-off. So this guy is now suing Netflix over his portrayal in the series. Bitch, what do you mean over your portrayal? That's who you are, isn't it? You aren't that guy? So what you mean to tell me is that Sarah and Virginia are lying. That's what you're saying, right there, Mr. Allen. I kept my underpants on, Dershowitz. Well, guess what? In America, we're allowed to not believe you, okay? So I don't believe you, Alan Dershowitz. In my opinion, you're a liar. In my opinion, you did all the stuff that these girls say you did. And you've lied about your relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. That is my opinion. What are you going to do, sue me too? That's next for these assholes, right? Oh, I'm going to start suing podcasters as well. That would be a feather in my cap. These clowns, they run around with all of this power and all of this influence. Oh, I'm going to sue this one. I'm going to sue that one. None of it ever goes to discovery. None of it ever comes to fruition. And if you think Netflix is going to back down from Dershowitz, you got another thing coming. Have y'all checked your Netflix bill lately? That extra couple of bucks? Yeah, they can afford a couple of lawyers. So, Dirty Dershowitz and his $80 million ask? Laughable. Netflix? Laughing at him. The rest of us laughing at him as well. Meanwhile, Captain Volleyball, Mr. Underpants himself, Martha's Vineyard's finest, is busy suing once again. Let's jump into the article from CNBC and let's see what Kevin Bruninger has to say. Headline: Former Trump lawyer Alan Dershowitz sues Netflix over portrayal in Jeffrey Epstein series. Over portrayal. I mean, your own words, bro. You were interviewed in the documentary. What do you mean, their portrayal of you? Here's an idea. Stop hanging out with people like Jeffrey Epstein. Pretty simple. Not hard, right? You know, there's some basic things in life. Wake up in the morning, take a shower, brush your chompers, throw on some deodorant, avoid doing methamphetamine, and don't hang out with diddlers like Jeffrey Epstein. Those are life's rules. There you go. That's a freebie for you, Alan. Famed attorney Alan I kept my underpants on Dershowitz filed a multi-million-dollar lawsuit on Wednesday against Netflix and the producers of Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich, over his portrayal in the docuseries about the deceased multimillionaire and accused child sex trafficker. Accused child sex trafficker, buddy? Is he or is he not paying money out to these girls via his estate? Oh, he is? So it's not alleged, all right? Signed, sealed, delivered. Sex offender, abused these girls. They're admitting it by paying the money out. Can the legacy media get on board, please? Is CNBC ever going to get on board? Are they ever going to realize what the hell's going on? Lawyers for Dershowitz, who was interviewed for the 2020 series, allege he was misled knowingly and deliberately by the producers, who maliciously and intentionally portrayed him in a defamatory manner. I mean, really? They portrayed you like that? Or is it that that's how you come off, Dirty Dersh? It's how you come off, my friend. You come off as a dirtbag. You come off as a scumbag. You come off as a callous asshole. That's right.
Imagine an ER waiting room with your favorite blanket and pillow, your cat's Pixel and Widget, and your mom's chicken soup. At Dignity Health, we know the only thing worse than being in pain is being stuck in an ER waiting room. So we offer In Quicker. You get an estimated ER arrival time online so you can start your wait at home. It's just another way of putting leading-edge medicine within easy reach. Learn more at strosehospitals.org/ER. Dignity Health, including St. Rose Dominicans, Rose de Lima, San Martin, and Siena campuses in Henderson and Las Vegas. Hello, human kindness.
I mean every last one of those things I've said about you. If it's not pretty clear, Alan Dershowitz, I don't like your bitch ass. In fact, you disgust me. But unlike some other people, it's not because the fact that you defended Jeffrey Epstein. You're a lawyer. That's your job. I get it. It's your personal behavior that I take umbrage with. It's the way you roll that I take umbrage with. It's how you speak about these survivors, especially Virginia, that I take umbrage with. You're out here running your mouth, talking crazy out of the side of your neck on a regular basis, and then all of a sudden you're the one who wants to sue people? See, this is what happens when you leave your lane, Alan. Your rims pop. They did that by promoting and bolstering false allegations of sexual misconduct against Professor Dershowitz, says the lawsuit, which was filed in the Southern Florida federal court. Oh, I'm sure that's the best place for him to file it, right? He has a bunch of friends in Florida. We've already seen that. We all know that the justice system down there is absolutely corrupt. We all know that it's broken. There's no white knight riding in to save the day. DeSantis shit the bed. They're all going to shit the bed. They're all terrible. None of them care. The justice system's broke. It's all a joke. And all of us, we end up holding the bill, right? We end up paying the bill at the end of the night. A Netflix spokesperson told CNBC in his statement that Dershowitz's lawsuit is without merit, and we will vigorously defend our partners and the series. For sure. Do you really, what, Netflix is going to roll over and die here? Zero chance. Netflix is going to go hard in the paint. Netflix is going to come out swinging. And I think that one of these days, maybe not this time, but one of these days, one of these lawsuits that I kept my underpants on files is going to come back and boomerang him directly in the courtroom. One of these times, with one of these lawsuits, he's really going to shoot himself in the foot. And I cannot wait for the day. And I hope it's the Netflix lawyers that slap the ever-loving shit out of this guy in the courtroom. Can anyone point to me the last time Dershowitz was in the courtroom and argued a case in front of a jury and a judge? You know, in the mafia, what they say is, you're only as good as your last envelope. And it looks like Alan Dershowitz's envelope is a bit light. Dershowitz is also suing Radical Media LLC and Leroy and Morton Productions LLC, as well as the show's director, Lisa Bryant, and producer, Joseph Berlinger. So all of those people who have just been mentioned, I hope all of you are ready to bite down on your mouthpiece and throw this dude a severe beating in the courtroom. I'm talking an epic beatdown within the courtroom. That's what he needs. Alan Dershowitz needs a wake-up call. Your day is past, bro. It's not the 90s anymore. It's not the 80s anymore. Them days are over. Your time is done. And all your whinging and all your motions and all your lawsuits, none of it hides the fact of the matter that you have serious allegations hanging over your head. Epstein survivor Virginia Roberts alleges she had been recruited as part of the dead money manager, pedophiles, sex trafficking operation, and had been directed to have sex with Dershowitz and others. Again, look, it comes down to who do you believe. Me, personally, I believe Virginia, okay? Point blank, period. At this point, you would have to show me monstrous amounts of evidence for me to not believe what she has to say. Oh, I've done my due diligence, folks. I've scoured the documentation. I've read all of the nonsense put forward by Dershowitz and others trying to demean Virginia's character. I don't need the media to tell me what to think. I don't need anyone to tell me what to think. Critical thinking is something that all of us should be engaging in. And when you look at the evidence that's presented, you look at the statements, you look at everybody who's been around, it's quite obvious, to me anyway, that Virginia and the rest of these girls are telling the truth. This isn't he said, she said. This isn't no evidence. This is decades and decades of court documents of people running their mouths. We know what happened. And anyone acting like they don't know what occurred here is engaging in cognitive dissonance and should not be trusted. Dershowitz, who is still fighting Roberts in court, denies he had sex with her and says he never met her. His defamation suit accuses the defendants of not presenting evidence in the Netflix Epstein series that they received and agreed to present, which he says exonerates him. Well, let's see it in court, you moron. So it's up to Netflix to exonerate you? That's not how this works, you dumb asshole. And I hope Netflix absolutely hammers this tool in court. There's not a bigger narcissist in the whole group of these people than Alan, I kept my underpants on, Dershowitz. He acts like that's, an excuse, an alibi as well. Oh, well, I got a massage one time, but I had my underpants on. What are you going to your friend's house to get a massage for in the first place, you sick bastard? Crip, keep him, look him up. Moo. Tell you what, go to a professional if you want a massage. Not to your buddy Jeffrey Epstein's house. Dershowitz's denial and Robert's accusation come off as he said, she said. Conflict, the lawsuit states. But it wasn't a he said, she said situation, however, given Professor Dershowitz's totality of the evidence establishing he never had sex with Roberts, the lawyers argue. Where is all of this evidence that he's talked about so often? How are you going to establish the fact that you did not have sex with her? What, are you going to give us some more bullshit that you were around all of these other men while you were there? You mean everybody else who was accused of doing the same thing? It's like Jeffrey Dahmer pointing over at John Wayne Gacy. Hey, look, John Wayne Gacy was here, so we're good, right? These people are disturbed. Bryant deliberately broke her repeated promise to include in the Netflix series all the evidence that Professor Dershowitz presented to her, disproving Robert's allegations against Professor Dershowitz, the lawsuit alleges. What? What does that even mean? He has all of this evidence, but no one's ever seen any of it. Words are wind, Professor Dershowitz. And it's like a hurricane coming out of your mouth. A lawyer for Roberts did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Dershowitz is demanding at least $20 million each in damages for 4 separate causes of action, including defamation and breach of contract, according to the lawsuit. Mr. Money Grabber himself, Mr. Lawsuit Layer Alan Dershowitz. Is this guy for real? Does anyone take him serious? Does the court even take him serious at this point? Philip Byler, an attorney for Dershowitz, told CNBC in an email that the damages figure reflects that Professor Dershowitz's reputation has been severely damaged. He noted that the compensatory claims usually get refined during the course of litigation. I am sure you would not want to be taunted about liking sex with underage girls, Byler added. Well, here's an idea. Don't hang out with people like Jeffrey Epstein, right? Don't go to the nines protecting them, defending them. Don't hang out with trafficked girls. All pretty simple things to do in life, like we previously just discussed. But no, here he is running the streets with child molesters, abusers, and traffickers. Nobody's believing any of his bullshit, okay? Point blank, period. Dershowitz, more than a decade earlier, had helped negotiate a plea bargain for Epstein that required the financier, pedophile, to register as a sex offender. Epstein was arrested on sex trafficking charges in July 2019. He hanged himself, allegedly, in his jail cell in Manhattan federal lockup about a month later. A Harvard law professor, Dershowitz had also joined former President Donald Trump's legal team during his impeachment fight. Boy, birds of a feather, huh? Fellow travelers and all. More recently, he told CNBC he was advising lawyers for MyPillow CEO and election conspiracy theorist Mike Lindell in a defamation suit. I mean, look, guys, if Mike Lindell is the champion of your cause, don't you think that maybe the cause needs to be thought about a little bit more or perhaps reworked? Mike Lindell is the best you can do, huh? All right, I mean, I guess, if that's who you're riding to the nines with. Byler, in his statement, said Netflix and the Epstein show's producers used the professor's name to drive views of their miniseries, and then proceed to defame him with a clever manipulation of facts. Oh yeah, Dershowitz's small appearance in that documentary is exactly what drove views. Not hearing from the survivors or anything. You stupid morons. There's not a judge in the world that should buy this BS. This makes a mockery of our First Amendment, victims' rights, and the truth itself, Byler said. Now, that's pretty much what your client does, makes a mockery of all of that on a regular basis. So here we are, 2021, a new year, and the same old Alan I kept my underpants on Dershowitz. Another lawsuit, another crybaby situation, and another reason to dislike Mr. I kept my underpants on. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. All of the links that go with this episode can be found in the description box. For all of you who have helped support the podcast in the past or recently, thank you very much for your support, folks. I really appreciate all of you. All right, everybody, I will be back tomorrow, and we will pick this thing up where we left it off. And remember, if you're going out tonight, folks, be responsible, right? Don't get behind the wheel if you're drunk, if you're smoking some of those fine, fantastic herbal concoctions. No driving then either, okay? Post up, get yourself an Uber, whatever it is. Enjoy yourself, but please do it responsibly. We have scumbags to catch, and I need you all here to do it. All right, everybody, until tomorrow, enjoy your night.
Dream Bank knows that dreams take hustle and hard work, and they thrive with connection and support. Visit amfam.com/dreambank to join our community and explore our free events and resources designed for dreamers like you who do, believe, and achieve.
Imagine an ER waiting room with your favorite blanket and pillow, your cat's Pixel and Widget, and your mom's chicken soup. At Dignity Health, we know the only thing worse than being in pain is being stuck in an ER waiting room. So we offer In Quicker. You get an estimated ER arrival time online so you can start your wait at home. It's just another way of putting leading-edge medicine within easy reach. Learn more at strosehospitals.org/ER. Dignity Health, including St. Rose Dominicans, Rose de Lima, San Martin, and Siena campuses in Henderson and Las Vegas. Hello, human kindness.